is whether it even includes a faith. They're talking about big government. Holy. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You are watching Allastrology. This is the June full moon. Everybody by now knows a full moon is normally the end of a cycle. So we're thinking the end of a cycle, the end of what cycle? What the hell's ending? Think Jupiter. Think Jupiter and start listing all the keywords for Jupiter energy. And then we'll talk about it, right? Of course. And then we'll talk about the degree of this full moon and, of course, the sign that it's in. June 11th. June 11th is the date of the June full moon. We'll back this chart up a little bit. We didn't have to go far. There it is. It's in Sagittarius. It's in Saggy at 20 degrees. We mentioned Jupiter because whatever the sign is that full moon is in, you always got to know the ruling planet of the full moon. And Jupiter rules Saggy, so Jupiter's the ruler of this full moon. We can think of freedom, philosophy on life, religion, spirituality, my beliefs. The Jupiter is definitely people of the cloth because it's an authority figure. And Jupiter all by itself tends to be in spirituality. And our beliefs are huge with Jupiter energy. Our beliefs. Because we know that we have different beliefs. We have different religions, different faiths. And that's really important. So the Sagittarius energy challenges us. It challenges us to have our beliefs, to have our faith, to have, whatever our philosophy on life is, whether it even includes a faith. And the freedom to have that faith, the freedom to not have and follow a certain faith, the freedom to basically have your own beliefs that might be super different than everybody else. And the beauty of Sagittarius energy is I value my freedoms and my beliefs and what I feel is the truth. And by understanding being able to have that freedom, being able to be different from you, being able to have this wide plethora of different, I always liken it to cooking, different ingredients to grab from and be like, well, I like this, but I don't like that. And having that freedom. I know that was simplified, right? Religion compared to cayenne pepper and oregano and cilantro and whatnot. It's different, but you have the freedom. And that's one of the beauties of Sagittarius energy operating on a high level, which is I have my beliefs and I respect whatever your beliefs are. I don't have to agree with them, but I respect the idea and the foundational philosophy, which is you have a right to believe what you want to believe. It's a global type of energy. It's Jupiter. It's across the pond. So Sagittarius takes us to this expansiveness where we go away to school and we experience other faiths, other beliefs, other religions. We experience other nationalities, different people who don't look or speak or talk like I do. And so we're becoming we're just becoming more wise through our experiences. This is a Scorpio vibration. It speaks to the past and connection to faith and belief, hope and wisdom, rose-colored glasses, but also judgment. The focus of Saggy says, I'm on that topic, we're talking about it, and I'm staying laser focused on it even. The Sagittarius energy is optimistic and wonderful and freedom thinking and wanting freedom for self. I think one of its greatest stumbling blocks are the judgment especially the subconscious judgment, when we're passing subconscious judgment upon somebody else, and we're not aware that we're doing it. It's subconscious, right? And not allowing the freedom that we want, not allowing that for somebody else. I think those are probably the two biggest hangups. Some Saggies have said, I've heard some Saggies say that they might tend to be over-focused on something. So they get so zeroed in, like the rest of the world kind of just falls to the wayside because it's that racehorse. It's got those blinders up. So releases and endings can be higher education, can be judges. It can be your subconscious judgments. It can be religions. Some people might be releasing some religion or a belief system. Some people might be releasing a religious leader, because Saggy does want its freedom. At the end of the day, that's Sagittarius. It wants the freedom to expand, to explore. It wants to go on an adventure. It really, truly does. Really confident energy, too. It likes the idea of expanding and exploring because it is confident. It doesn't doubt that it has the ability to do that. Talks about the past and its shared values. There might be something going on here, and I'm hoping, I'm just going to try to follow along the line of energy of Sagittarius. I am hopeful and optimistic that, at least for where I am in the States, and just in the States in general, that there is an ending of a cycle, especially with the Supreme Court. There's intense wounds associated with this. And we can't forget the intense wounds that are associated with Saggy in terms of traveling, getting on an airplane and traveling. I was just listening to one of my YouTube neighbors who were talking about the statistics, the hard statistics just from Canada alone of people traveling. Because one of the things the United States sells, basically, is travel. Right? We don't really produce anything, right? We don't really manufacture anything, right? The stuff we did produce was our food, was part of USAID, which, giving food to, assistance around the world, but that kind of got canned. So it's like, 80% of our food stays here. But what about the travel industry and people coming and vacationing here or whatnot? Percentage of how much we're down from just Canadian travelers. And to no blame of them, I would be doing the same thing. I wouldn't be traveling to the United States. The idea of crossing the border and being detained and somebody going through my socials and checking my shit, invading my privacy in ways that go way beyond, whoa. And then being detained for weeks. So, yeah, travel, Canadians have definitely boycotted the US, and travel. This is big here. It has to do with shared values. And whether we like it or not, we share a freaking continent with them. Scorpio energy is natural resources. It is the planet. It's the earth. There's the wounds and the trauma and the tragedy, 20 degrees. Okay, there's history. When you have a president who cannot be held accountable, this is no longer a president. It's a dictatorship. It's an authoritarian. This is all Sagittarius, all of it, because it has to do with what your beliefs are, and in higher education matters. And an assault on higher education is so that you don't know the difference between a democracy and an authoritarian, so that you don't know what fascism looks like. Like, that's the whole point of limiting and squashing and restricting freedom of speech and freedom of beliefs, and limiting your access to knowledge. So Jupiter here with the Mercury at 4, all the keywords I just said when I talked about 4 degrees, the mother wound, women, Cancer energies, all this. The number 4 and Cancer energy are the same. Okay. Jupiter's there, so it expands upon emotions. Cancer, my feelings, my empathy, my nurturing, it usually expresses in a uplifting, positive, optimistic, hopeful way because it's exalted. The Jupiter is at 0 degrees. That is an extreme degree. It's a critical degree. And usually it's a crisis point when we're at 0. Again, this can be judges and judgments, can be the authority figure in your life. It can have a lot to do with immigration, foreigners, foreign lands, foreign languages, foreigners that live where you are, people who are here but who weren't born here. That's been a huge thing with the US. A release can be positive in that, thank God that's over with. And possibly there can be a release in terms of it's a psychological release because it's 20 degrees, so it's deeply psychological. The intensification, the expansion of a big release because it's Jupiter. It's not just a release, but a big release because Jupiter is go big or go home. But we then looked at the Jupiter and it's in emotions. It's in Cancer energy. So it adds even more emotions and the communication about with the Mercury energy at the 4 degrees, which is emotions as well. So it really screams and talks about home and family and feminine energy, big time, and the past. Very much. Home and family and feminine energy come up. Jupiter energy may give us a different perception on something that happened in the past, even an event, a belief about a leader, whether it's religious, spiritual, a teacher, educator, a belief. We might release a belief about a political figure. This is politics and politicians even. Our beliefs about the future and a release is here for sure. And because that 20 degrees is on the chart, the release in our belief about our future in regards to our shared natural resources, and oil keeps coming up. All right. I hope this has helped. And I appreciate you watching, and know that I always appreciate your time. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.